Like so many others, I lost someone close to me due to cancer. For me, that was my mom when I was 19. She was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer in January of 2018, and she passed away 6 months later. I bring this up because there was one moment that we had together that forever changed my life and will forever be a huge part in my journey. But before I get into what that moment was, you need to understand that I grew up a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and I still am a member, but that fact's not important right now. What is important is growing up in the church, they teach you to not do a lot of things. And as a rebellious teenager, I chose to do the majority of those things. So essentially, I was living these two lives. One was where the church members saw me as this good kid, and the other was where I was hanging out with my friends that weren't honestly my friends. I just didn't really realize it at the time. Then right after I graduated high school in 2017, I left on a mission and I came back a month or two later because I was not living the principles I was trying to teach. In other words, I wasn't worthy to be out there. Because I wasn't worthy to be out there, I had to write a letter to my parents explaining everything that I had done and why I needed to come home in the first place. And writing that letter was one of the hardest things that I had done up until that point. Shortly after I wrote the letter, I left and I came home for 10 months and did the work necessary for me to be able to go back out on my mission. And during that time I was home, that's when my mom was diagnosed. Now fast forward to her last Mother's Day. We were driving back from Phoenix, Arizona from one of her appointments going to Flagstaff, Arizona, where she lived and where I grew up. And my present to her that year was a song that I wrote and recorded for her. Also, Dallin, if you see this video, thank you so much for helping me make that song into something that was absolutely terrible. You have no idea how much your help meant to me. Honestly, for real, thank you. Okay, so back to the story. We are driving and I played the song for her and we both started to cry. And she says, "Orson, I'm not worried about you." That's the moment that changed my life. Because growing up, I was this kid that wanted to make my parents proud, and knowing that I let them down in a big way was hard for me. But to hear her say that, even though that she wasn't going to be around for much longer, brought so much hope into my life and showed me that I can still create an amazing life that I'm proud of and that she would be proud of. But unfortunately, there was something that she didn't know at the time. And it was right before that Mother's Day, I made another mistake, and it was one of the same ones that brought me home in the first place. Why did I do that? I don't know. Call it acting out or whatnot. I mean, either way, the why doesn't matter. What matters is that it happened, and I just continued to follow the cycle of not telling anybody except for a few select people. But the reasoning as to why her saying that changed my life was because growing up I had been making the same mistakes over and over and over again. Despite my big dreams and ambitions for an amazing life, those mistakes kept getting in the way. And knowing I had made this mistake again, and then to have her tell me that she wasn't worried about me, it made me sick inside. Knowing that she wasn't worried about me, and here I am making those same mistakes again and again. And that pain that I felt inside made me vow that I would never do anything to let her down. I would never do anything that would ruin my chances of accomplishing my dreams and making those come true. Because when I die and I get to see my mom again, we will be able to look back on my life, and my life will be proof that her words were not misplaced. And that's my why. And now to wrap up this story, the next month, that month comes and goes, and the following month is when I left on my mission. And 2 weeks after I had left, she passes away. You see, I left knowing that I would never see her again. And as hard as that was, I knew that I wasn't going to let her down. And you can take this or leave it, but if you ever find yourself in a hopeless situation, losing yourself in the service of others is a great way to find perspective and happiness again. Now, I only say that because that's just exactly what I did when she passed, and all felt lost to me. In closing, do I wish I never made these mistakes? I mean, yes, but at the same time, no. Because in a million years, I would never go back and change it, because those lessons and experiences and the heartache that I faced watching my mom slowly deteriorate and making those mistakes over and over again are the same experiences that made me into who I am today. It doesn't matter what I did yesterday or 5 years ago. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday or 5 years ago. What matters is who I am right now in this moment and every moment moving forward. So I ask you, who do you want to be? I mean, if I were to answer that question for myself, based on my experiences, I choose to be somebody that will make my mom proud and prove to her with the actions in my own life that she does not have to be worried about me. That's my story, and that's my why, and those are the experiences that have made me into who I am today.